Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning, 15 minutes to change our lives. Parshas Lech Lecha. Good Sichos Chalek Aleph. This year is sponsored by Aaron and Ariella Zuckerman for Nalis and Neshama for Sharon Yehudis Bas Yosef Zalman on a third yard site. Thank you very much for the sponsorship. And in Mitzvah Hashem, we should have only simchas from now on. And anyone else wants to sponsor, you can reach out for a class or for a series. Thank you very much. Okay, continuing on. Today we have 2 days to try to cover some ground to another idea, another profound idea. So basically we're going to have a whole discussion of an interesting dynamic. Abraham has 2 kids. He has Yishmael and Yitzchak. They're very different style personalities, and Abraham really loves both of them. You know, we've learned to say Yitzchak's the good guy and Yishmael's the bad guy, but we can see from the Medrash that Yishmael wasn't such a bad guy. There's different interpretations, and in this Medrash we see how Yishmael's not such a bad guy. And Avram was really happy with Yishmael. He didn't need to have Yitzchak. But we see how ultimately Yitzchak has a whole different Madriga level, and this is going to be teaching us an idea of chinuch. And something's going to answer us. I think hopefully we'll have a clarity on one of the things about a bris. Why is a bris at 8 days old, and what is it accomplishing specifically at 8 days old? Let's see. So as we said yesterday, we started it off that the Friedrich Rebbe says that the Parsha of the Shavua of the week is connected to that week itself. So what's going on in our lives is connected. So now, Torah and Parsha Shavua, Sipur, latest Yitzchak, Yishmael, Yitzchak. So the idea of this week's Parsha is the birth of Yitzchak, Yishmael, and Yitzchak. Yishmael, of course, came first, and then Yitzchak. Now, Tikkus Kol Adam, the want, the desire, the hope of every single person is here. We try to impart values, and this is a very important idea. We should have values, and this is one of the things, we try to talk to people when they go to shidduchim. You should know your values. So we should have values, and those values, and we want to tell ourselves what are these values, and we want to give them over. The value could be kind, and then Torah mitzvahs and things like this. And they're an important value. And it's something you can't get forced, but you have to impart it. You bring about it. And Sheish Tavos talks a lot about this. This is values. That's what the Rebbe is saying. We're going in the same way. That's what we want. We love it. The best feeling is when the kid appreciates your lifestyle and the way you gave it over so well that they want to do the same thing. And they want to pass it on. HaTorah Misaperes, and so the Torah tells us, Shakadosh Baruch Hu Chanan es Avram Avinu b'shnei banim. Hashem, with kindness, gave Avram 2 sons, Yishmael and Yitzchak. Tchila Neila Yishmael, Yitzchak first, Yishmael and Yitzchak. K'shevtiach Hakadosh Baruch Hu Avram Avinu she'eled b'nei leid b'nei Yitzchak. When Hashem told Avram, you're going to have a son Yitzchak, what Avram said? Hayazeh kvar achil Yishmael. It's right after Yishmael was born. So Amar Avram said before Hashem, Lo Yishmael Yichya lefanecha. He's like, Yishmael, as long as Yishmael behaves like a mensch, I'm good. I've been around for a while, and I finally have some kid. I have a kid, I'm good. As long as Yishmael behaves and he follows in the right path, I'm good. Yeah. Avram Avinu haya mashlim. Gamim kash lo yivaled lo bnei Yitzchak. He was also good if we didn't have a Yitzchak, another son. Ach sheyishmael yichid lefanecha. As long as Yishmael will live before you, meaning Yisnaheg Kroi, act like a mensch. He'll follow in the ways of Avram. Remember, Avram's in a world that everyone wasn't behaving the way they should, and Avram was. And he's like, as long as Yishmael follows in the path that we've been set, that you told me that I'm following, I'm happy, I'm good. Yelch b'derech Hashem, we're going the ways of Hashem. So Hakadosh Baruch Hu, what does Hashem answer him? Loi, no, Yishmael is not the guy. Rak bincha Yitzchak sheyoyled lecha yirav ve'oscha nachas emes. Only Yitzchak is going to give you the true nachas. This is a very interesting conversation over here. Amnam leYishmael shematicha. He goes, but Yishmael, I did hear. I hear. Gam
Was it second cousin?
Gam
Second
Yishmael.
cousin. First.
Gam Yishmael. You'll also get nachas from Yishmael, but Barum ein lecha listapik bekach. That's not going to be enough of a nachas. Not going to be true nachas. Not Yiddish nachas. Ela davka be Yitzchak yikar lecha zera. But it's davka with Yitzchak you're going to have your offspring. I mean, Yitzchak is going to be the one. So what's happening? Just to summarize what's happening. So Avram has two kids. First he has Yishmael, and then Hashem says to him, we're going to have another child. It's going to be Yitzchak. And that's going to be like the one. And Avram's like, Yishmael, he's good. He's a good boy. As long as he behaves, as long as he follows my values, he follows in your way, and he does Torah mitzvahs, I'm happy with him. So Hashem says, no, he's not the one. Now why? What's the problem with Yishmael? And we're going to see how Yishmael, now we're going to discuss how Yishmael is a good guy. And he comes from a good place, and his mother had Mesiras Nefesh. And for sure, it wasn't Yishmael was like a bad guy, he was a good guy. So why? Why is it not good enough? And tomorrow, Mr. Hashem will answer this. Let's see. Ches. Adam Avinu Haya Az ben Tishim V'Tesha Shanim. He's already 9 years old at this time of this discussion. Asaras Shanim Avar Es HaKadosh Baruch Hu Avar Es HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'Avar V'Nishanis Rabbim. He served Hashem for tens of years already, and he went through all these tests. Move on, and it's understood. Haya Loi Musag HaNachem Yeshmos Ashel Nachas Banim. So Avram understood what does it mean in Nachas. He understood. He'd been serving Hashem. He's been around the block a little bit. He knows what's going on. He understands what it means when we're talking about Nachas. And Hashem saying, no, this is Nachas. Avram understood what Nachas was, and he thought he'd get Nachas from Yishmael. When Avram said, as long as Yishmael is good, I'm happy with that. Hare, his kaven, Shishma Yelech, Shehu, Avram, Yidrech, so Avram has in mind that Yishmael is going to behave, and he's going to go in the same ways that he is. It's not just, the Rebbe is being very clear that don't look at Yishmael as like a bad guy, and Yitzchak's a good guy, and Avram's like, listen man, if I have a kid, I don't care. Avram understands what's important in life, he understands what the values are, and he's trying to impart the values into Yishmael, and he's like, hey, Yishmael's good, if I can impart the values to him, I'm good. And this is the discussion. Avram Avinu Yidrech Ad Kedei Kach Sheyiven Nachas Mimenu V'Hesim LeMusagav Hu B'Inyan Zeh. And the Nachas that Avram is expected to get from Yishmael is the Nachas that Avram understands what it means, true Nachas. Nevertheless, Hashem says to him, the true Nachas, it's like Dafka, it's specific from Yitzchak. So what's going on here? What's the problem with Yishmael, and why is it not good enough? Let's see. Now, let's understand Yishmael's mother. Where does she come from? Hagar. What does it say about Hagar? Mesubah Medrash in the Medrash. Shehoisa Mushlemes Ad Kedei Chach. She's too complete. She'an Hagasa Hushvu LaAvodas Beis Hamikdash. It says in the Medrash that her avodah, her work and her toil on herself was so good, it was like the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. This is Hagar, this is Avram's, this is Sarah's maidservant, this is who she is. And that's why she's called Keturah, like Keteris. And she also had Mesiras Nefesh. As the rabbis say in the Medrash, Shehagar Harisa Bita Shel Paro Melech Mitzrayim. She was the daughter of the king of Egypt. Shehamamlucha Hadira Shalaz is one of the most powerful nations at the time. But nevertheless, his schema, the nutritious Alma and Hamalchus, she was willing to give up her kingship, her crown, and her royalty in order. She should become a maidservant. She goes from the highest of high to become a maidservant. So she went down in a lot of levels. The whole purpose she did this. Why? Because she wanted to be in the house of Abraham. So Ishmael's mother is also good. She's a great person. And for sure, between her and Abraham and Sarah in the household, they're raising Ishmael on a good level. So Shegam is B'na Yishmael Chincha B'derech. So it's understood that she also imparted these types of values to her son Yishmael. So everything is good on Yishmael's end, l'chayra, seemingly. So calls them Mavi Lana Yes Madur Ratz Avram Listapek Bishmael. It all really sheds light on why Avram was happy with Ishmael, and that was enough for him. Tech Tikva Sheyirve Mimenu Maluan Maloi Nachas, and he's expecting a good nachas from this child. The Aval Idach is on the other hand, Arezeh Magbir Es I Havana Madur Amalei Kadosh Baruch Hu should be Yitzchak Dafka Yikar Lechazar, which strengthens the question: why is Hashem saying that it's Dafka Yitzchak? Why Yitzchak? What's so bad about Ishmael? Ishmael's a good guy. His mother was good. She had Mesiras Nefesh. She went from being a princess to being a maidservant, just to be in the proper household. She had a lot of Mesiras Nefesh, and for sure she raised the kid Yishmael like this, and for sure in Avram's house, and Avram was happy. Listen, and Avram understood what does it mean. And Avram said, "I'm happy with Yishmael." And Avram understood what does it mean to be happy and true nachas from his children, to go in the ways of Hashem. And he was, and suddenly Yishmael is going to be doing this. Yishmael is good. So what is the problem with Yishmael, and why does Hashem say Dafka Yitzchak? So what's it now? In order to understand it, we have to understand the difference between Yishmael and Yitzchak. And we'll see. And a lot of the difference is not anything that Yishmael did as much as just the circumstance. But it shows, but nothing just circumstantial. Everything is Hashgacha Pratis, and it shows the two types. And we'll see. And it's in short, on one foot, Yishmael is like intellect, and Yishmael is very brought down into his understanding, whereas Yitzchak is all above that. I want to understand what it means in chinuch and how to mechanech a child in this way. Let's see. I have the Yishmael Yitzchak. The difference between Yishmael and Yitzchak is first of all, Yishmael was natural. It was a natural birth. You know, Avram and Sarah weren't having kids, and so he got Hagar, and they had kids right away. It was very natural. Unlike Yitzchak, like we know, it was all a miracle. Because naturally they were too old to have kids. People didn't believe it was possible. Even Avram himself wasn't certain that he would get such a miracle. So the whole birth of Yitzchak was miraculous. From here, also with the Bris Milah, which is something very different. The first difference is Yishmael was born without a miracle, and Yitzchak was born with a miracle. The second difference is the bris. They both had a bris, but a mitzvah yuchedes. But that time, that was the only mitzvah they really had. The only mitzvah they could connect with Hashem in a real way. Meaning all other mitzvahs they did, the Avram kept all Torah, but that wasn't in a way of it didn't transform the Gashmias. They did the mitzvah, and then when they finished, they could put it away. It was a spiritual mitzvah. Whereas the only physical mitzvah that they could do was the bris. Hashem commanded him, and that was only one. So Yishmael did it, Avram did it, Yitzchak did it. What's the difference between Yitzchak and Yishmael's bris? Yishmael nimel ben shleisha shana. Yishmael had a bris at 13 years old. And if I understand correctly, even today, Muslims, they get a bris at 13. But now, Shemalu loy shleisha shana, so a child, when he's 13 years old, who ba'seichel, he already has an intellect. Lecha, and therefore, haya az levar mitzvah. He was already part of he understood what he was doing. He was doing a mitzvah. He had this maturity of him, and he was assigned to do this mitzvah. Mischaye became mitzvahs, and he's obligated to do mitzvahs. Kivin sh'az nichan. Because he's already on a stage that he had some intellect, and he understood what was going on, and he appreciated what was going on, which seemingly is a good thing. Kadei efsharius lases imun b'hanhagasei. So Yishmael was old enough that he could make his own decision, and he made the decision, which is seemingly a very cool thing. He was mature enough. He said, hey, you know what? I want to have a bris. That's how Yishmael came about with the bris. Yitzchak, on the other hand, is Nimo ben Shmeni Yamim. Tinok ben Shmeni Yamim Eino begeder nesinas skama v'avo bichein kishru az imagash baruch hu bekeshem she'eino nitzan linatek v'lashon hakasu bris elam. Whereas Yitzchak is the opposite. He's too young. He's only 8 years old. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't have a choice. He can't say his opinion. Has no opinion at that point. And they give him a bris, and they connect him with Hashem, but in a way that it's called the bris olam. It's an everlasting covenant. So Yitzchak and Yishmael's bris are totally different, totally opposites. Yishmael is all about seichel, intellect. He's coming, he's mature, and whereas Yitzchak is the exact opposite. Yitzchak is totally, he doesn't have a choice, he doesn't know what's going on, and he's connected, and we connect him. And I think we're going to, we'll try to finish off tomorrow, but just a quick story that connects this idea. There was once I read a letter of the Rebbe that this guy wrote, I don't know, I think it was like Modern Orthodox, and he wrote in this newspaper, like one of the Jewish newspapers, and they wrote to him a whole thing about it. They basically said that he let his kid decide which school to go to. Or to choose Yiddishkeit, I think it was to choose Yiddishkeit. And he's so proud that his child chose the right derech, and he was very happy that it was his choice, that it wasn't forced on him. And the Rebbe wrote a letter to him, and he said, put into perspective that imagine that because you wouldn't give your child the choice of certain things. Certain things there's no choice, which school to go to, let's say. You don't say, or maybe it was with the school, but he said you wouldn't give him a choice like to do the right thing or the wrong thing. Certain things are just, I'm not giving you the choice, you're not doing it, it's wrong, and you can't do it. And never said to him, it's so too, you come to these types of choices, there's a certain amount of choice you're always meant to give your child. But there's a certain amount that you inculcate within them, this is how it is. So too with Yiddishkeit, and this is what we're saying. Yishmael is the derech, a way a parent says, you know what, I'll let my child decide what he wants to do with Torah mitzvahs. Yishmael, that's Yishmael. Yitzchak is, I don't give him the choice, not because I don't want him to choose, because I make it part of the reality. Now, it doesn't mean you have to force everything on your children, of course, but it means your hanacha, your axiom, your value, the Torah mitzvahs is real, this is all it. And you don't say, let me wait to my child, I won't teach him anything, I'll let him come on by his own. That's not the derech, that's not the way we're meant to do it. What we're learning is by Yitzchak, you imbue them with Torah mitzvahs. And people say, you have to give them a choice. You don't have to give them a choice. This is our life. This is everything. And this is what we're learning here. Yitzchak, and that's why ultimately the true nachas comes from Yitzchak. Because when the Rebbe explains, and he explains it tomorrow, because when Yishmael does everything, essentially why is he doing it? Because it made sense to him. He decided. So what happens if tomorrow he decides otherwise? His connection is based off his intellect, and his intellect is always limited. And that's what with the child. When the child comes and says, I realize I should do it, that's limited to his intellect, his or her intellect. But whereas when you inculcate within them, like Yitzchak, the bris, the first thing, you're saying you're connected to God. Why? Because you're connected, because you're one with Hashem. Not because it makes sense, because it's above logic. Just like your whole birth is above logic, the whole existence of Jewish people is above logic. And so to this connection is above logic, and that's what it is. You're connected. And the question is not what, but how. It's not like what is this? Are we doing this? But how do we do this? To be continued in Mitzvah Hashem and finish it off tomorrow.